Hi, my name is Ari. I'm an undergraduate student at LSU. Today, I will share the main study skills I implement every week to stay focused and productive. The first is the Pomodoro technique. This is a way to break down large tasks or long study sessions into manageable chunks with breaks in between. This is an effective technique because it takes into account for our short attention spans and tendency to become easily distracted. You might find this helpful if you're constantly checking social media like I used to. All you do is set a timer to allow yourself to focus on a single task, whether it's reading a section in your textbook, starting a problem set, making a mnemonic, or whatever else. After the timer is done, you take a break. I recommend you get up and get away from your study area if possible. Just walk around, breathe, listen to some music, do some push ups, or just share a brief conversation with someone nearby. After the break is done, continue working until the next break and repeat as long as desired. Now, the time of the session and break should be set by you, so figure out what works best for you in terms of finishing or focusing on one specific task. The most popular times are 25-minute sessions with 5-minute breaks and 45-minute sessions with 15-minute breaks. But again, it's up to you. Now, I recently found an app called Tide that implements the Pomodoro technique. It allows you to change the duration of sessions and breaks and has white noises, such as rain, forest, piano, and cafe sounds, that I found to be rather relaxing. It also has a music fusion capability that lets your music play along with the white noises. It also has an immersive mode that doesn't allow you to leave the app, but if you override it, your session fails and you feel pretty bad about yourself. This app is available in both Apple Store and Google Play. The next technique is the method of loci. Loci is Latin for place, and this skill uses the power of a mind map or a physical place to remind you of large amounts of information. This technique is useful when trying to memorize big chunks of material, especially concepts that are related. I recently used it to learn the reagents tested on my organic chem lab midterm. I cut up white printer paper into small rectangles and wrote the reagents on each. In each paper, I wrote which chemicals tested positive and negative, any important theory about the reagent, and the indications of positive and negative results. I then taped these pieces into common places of contact in my apartment, so the front doorknob, the kitchen light switch, the bathroom mirror, and microwave door. I would then obligatorily review each reagent when I came into contact with these spots. Now, interestingly, this is actually a bad example of when to use this method because these reagents weren't all that related. This method would probably work best when learning biochemical pathways or biological systems, such as the insulin-glucagon pathway, the HIV cycle, or the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, because the place can serve as a map with directions. Essentially, you want to make a mind map to organize information and retrace your steps through the journey every time you study. The last technique is spaced repetition. This skill takes into account the fact that we forget what we learn after a set amount of time. But if you consistently review before the forgetting curve, you're more likely to recall it later on. This technique is effective because it discourages late night cramming sessions and instead encourages long-term retention and efficient study methods. Ideally, you want to preview material before lecture to get an overall picture. During lecture, you're likely to focus on the details. After lecture, review the material a third time, focusing on the less obvious details and then connect those details to the bigger picture. Now, you're probably familiar with traditional flashcards and maybe even Quizlet. And those are great and they have their place, but they are hard to implement this technique with efficiently. I recommend using the app called Anki. This is a software available for free on computers, but unfortunately it costs about $25 on smartphones. Nevertheless, this software has a built-in space repetition function where you test yourself on the flashcards you create and confess how difficult it was to recall the information. These range from straight up again, hard, good, and easy. And the more difficult, the more often the card will be shown to you. You can build decks and organize them into tests, subjects, or whatever way you like. This app also has a cool feature called image occlusion. This is useful when trying to memorize names of body parts for anatomy or events within a timeline, just to give some examples. You import a picture and make labels if the picture doesn't already include them. Then you cover up the labels, making each label a separate flashcard. This is an example using a diagram of a human heart. Here's an example using a timeline of 16th century European events. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you're able to find something useful in this video and implement it in your studies. And remember, don't be this guy. Even if you have an unlimited supply of caffeine from Highland Coffees,